At 61, Jim Carrey chose this moment for what he described as his final conversation with the world. The comedian who'd ignited joy in millions worldwide was now prepared to unveil the unvarnished reality of his journey. For years, admirers had glimpsed shadows lurking beneath his explosive charisma, sensing a turmoil that fueled his frenzy. Their instincts were spot on. In 2025, Carrey disclosed a profound secret. He'd been managing depression with Prozac since the 1980s, grappling with a persistent undercurrent of melancholy that shadowed his every step. Yet that revelation was merely the prelude. The true jolt came from his candid revelations about his father's desperate suicide attempts and the personal crisis that nearly shattered him. Confessions that forever alter the lens through which we view his iconic filmography. James Eugene Carrey entered the world on January 17, 1962, in the unassuming Ontario town of Newmarket, Canada. As the baby of a family of 4, he navigated a boisterous, overcrowded household where aspirations clashed relentlessly with mounting debts. His father, Percy, once a vibrant saxophonist in a local jazz ensemble, had traded melodies for ledgers, taking a stable but soul-crushing accounting position at Dofasco's wheel division in Scarborough. The annual salary? A modest $8,000, barely enough to keep the lights on. Meanwhile, his mother, Kathleen, waged a quiet war against chronic illness throughout Jim's early years, confined to her bed more often than she roamed the house. The family surname had evolved from the more exotic Carrey, softened by Percy's forebears upon their arrival in Canada generations earlier. Within those tight walls, young Jim witnessed his father's unspoken frustrations festering like an untreated wound. Percy possessed the soul of an artist, caged in the monotony of spreadsheets and deadlines. From an early age, Jim internalized a harsh lesson. Diligence alone offered no shield against life's capricious blows. Seeking solace at age 8, Jim turned to the bathroom mirror as his private stage. He'd linger for hours, contorting his features into grotesque, hilarious distortions that even drew his siblings from their chores, frozen in awe. By 10, his self-assurance bloomed. He penned a bold letter to beloved Canadian TV host Carol Burnett, proclaiming himself a prodigy of mimicry. Her office replied with a generic courtesy note, but to Jim it was a beacon of validation. He affixed it proudly to his bedroom wall, a talisman of destiny. Classrooms became unwitting theaters for his antics. He'd disrupt lessons by channeling authority figures or silver screen idols, earning repeated expulsions from the principal's office. Classmates dubbed him Rubber Face, a moniker that, amid the family's perpetual money woes, transformed into a currency more precious than gold: laughter. Catastrophe struck in 1975 when the factory abruptly shuttered its doors. At 51, Percy faced the abyss of joblessness. He fired off 73 resumes to accounting outfits throughout Ontario, met only with silence and firm rejections. Their nest egg evaporated swiftly, devoured by Kathleen's escalating healthcare costs. Desperation forced Percy into a degrading pivot. Janitorial work at $4 per hour, scrubbing restrooms in the very industrial plants where he'd once commanded respect as a white-collar professional. Jim, now 13, watched in heartbroken silence as the hero of his youth humbled himself before former colleagues. The fallout was swift and merciless. Within months, foreclosure claimed their home. From 1974 to 1976, the Carrey clan endured in a battered yellow Volkswagen camper van, stationed precariously by the chilly shores of Lake Ontario. Percy and Kathleen claimed the vehicle's cramped interior for sleep, while Jim and his brother John braved the elements in a flimsy tent pitched nearby, enduring bone-chilling Canadian winters. Mornings brought frost-laced sleeping bags and hurried ablutions at dingy gas station faucets before trudging to school. Survival meant foraging for day-old sandwiches in trash bins, reheating them on the van's tiny burner. The entire family supplemented income with graveyard shifts at a nearby plant, netting $30 for 8 grueling hours of mopping corridors and sanitizing facilities. Jim attended Aldershot High School by day, operating on fumes, his uniform soiled, his focus fractured. By 15, Kathleen's condition had deteriorated to the point where mobility eluded her. Jim began skipping school sporadically, and at 16, he abandoned it altogether to labor full-time alongside his father, pulling in a meager $4.25 hourly wage. Nights blurred into a ritual of floor scrubbing till sunrise, followed by Don returns home, hoisting his mother from bed, bathing her with gentle care, preparing meals, and perching bedside to unleash a barrage of quips that coaxed faint smiles from her pain-riddled face. Those wisecracks were his lifeline to sanity amid the dread. She dubbed him her little ray of sunshine, though inwardly terror gnawed at him relentlessly. This punishing cycle persisted for 2 exhaustive years until a fateful dawn in 1980 upended their fragile equilibrium. But the scars ran deeper still. In 1982, at age 20, Jim discovered Percy slumped lifeless in the bathroom, an empty pill bottle clutched in his hand. Panic seized him as he dialed emergency services, his voice cracking over the line while paramedics raced to Joseph Brant Hospital. They revived him by mere minutes. In hushed aftermath, Percy confessed to 2 prior attempts during their van-dwelling ordeal. That trauma etched itself indelibly into Jim's psyche, planting seeds of dread that the same void might one day claim him. It ignited a ferocious drive to outrun stillness, to never cease the motion. Yet amid the anguish, a resilient spark urged him onward. At 15, Percy chauffeured him to Toronto's Yuck Yucks Comedy Club for his inaugural open mic slot. Kathleen, ever the doting parent, selected a garish polyester leisure suit, convinced it mirrored the flashy garb of TV funny men. The set fizzled, sparse applause echoing like judgment. But Percy's drive home brimmed with subdued encouragement, teaching Jim that stage flops were merely rehearsals for triumph. On his 16th birthday, Jim severed ties with education for good. The household teetered on ruin's edge, every member chained to factory or custodial drudgery. Jim logged 12-hour nocturnal shifts, catnapping in the van during lulls, his subconscious alive with visions of spotlights and roaring crowds. He carved out furtive comedy drills on downtime, aping legends like Don Adams and W.C. Fields to stoke his spirit. Once a top scholar, he now simmered with resentment and isolation. Yet humor became his oxygen. Poverty's toll fractured the family irrevocably. Siblings drifted into their own orbits. Percy's melancholy deepened into an inescapable fog. Kathleen's reliance on painkillers spiraled into dependency, a form of emotional exile Jim later likened to outright desertion. Evenings at the table echoed with her haunting murmurs. "My mind's crumbling at an alarming pace," or "I might not make it through the night." Those utterances burrowed into his core. He forged laughter into a bulwark, cloaking torment in layers of the surreal. At 17, validation arrived, $20 for a 20-minute gig at Toronto's El Mocambo Club. Modest earnings, but irrefutable evidence that wit could yield wages. Emboldened, he auditioned for Saturday Night Live in 1980, envisioning stardom within grasp. Fate demurred. He never crossed paths with Lorne Michaels. Producers dismissed him outright. Lorne wouldn't approve. Devastation lingered, yet it forged evolution. He shed imitation for originality, birthing personas uniquely his own. Beneath the levity lurked unseen lacerations. Schoolyard taunts over threadbare attire and indigence had scarred him. In fits of despair, he'd inflict harm on himself just to reclaim sensation. Decades on, a documentary unearthed footage of those raw episodes, so visceral that archivists shelved it for nearly 2 decades. That suffering propelled his craft. Each elastic grimace, each frenetic gesture, born from a child's arsenal for endurance through amusement. Glimmers of grace pierced the storm. Aldershot educators occasionally indulged his disruptions, permitting classroom performances over detention. An art instructor recalled him deftly doodling while channeling John Wayne's swagger. In 1981, at 19, opportunity knocked with a minor role in the low-key Canadian flick Introducing Janet, rebranded as Rubberface. He embodied Tony, a floundering funnyman, an eerie reflection of his own trajectory. Obscurity persisted, but momentum stirred. That year, with $200 sewn into his dreams, he bolted for Los Angeles. Crash pads in comedy dens and complimentary buffets sustained him as he hustled auditions relentlessly. By 1982, the Comedy Store beckoned. The hallowed, ground of titans like Richard Pryor and Robin Williams. One evening, Rodney Dangerfield clocked his raw talent and enlisted him for the 1982-1983 tour. As the troupe's novice, Jim warmed up arenas for thousands, rationing meals to one daily amid gnawing want. Scarcity lingered, but now it sharpened his edge. Television cameos trickled in, paltry pay, profound purpose. In 1983, $50 weekly sketches on the Sex and Violence Family Hour kept him afloat. He bunked in a barren loft, Ramen his staple. 1984's The Duck Factory sitcom, centering a chaotic animation house, limped through 13 installments before cancellation, plunging him back into red ink. Undeterred, 1985's Once Bitten, a vampire romp, netted $19 million on a $1.5 million outlay. Detractors shrugged, but audiences buzzed. The Elastic Kid from Ontario flickered into view. Parallel currents churned, a marijuana bust, a fleeting liaison with Mia Farrow, and cocaine's insidious grip to power through sleepless prep. He later termed that chapter his bleakest abyss. Auditions for SNL persisted, 1980, 1983, 1986, all rebuffs. His last try tanked on a limp Robin Williams homage. Rather than fold, he alchemized defeat into innovation, concocting outlandish avatars no rival dared. Fire Marshal Bill emerged, the deranged arsonist whose mania would soon eclipse all. At 28 in 1990, In Living Color on Fox shattered norms, and Jim shattered ceilings. His debut unleashed a voltage unmatched, spawning over 120 sketches across 5 seasons. Fire Marshal Bill ignited frenzy, charred visage, unhinged gaze, immortalized by "Let me show you something." It elicited guffaws laced with unease, irrevocably etched in memory. Ratings soared into the millions. Jim's segments lingered longest. As the sole white phenom on a stage helmed by black comedy pioneers like the Wayans siblings, he didn't assimilate. He ascended. Offstage, excess eroded him. For alter egos like Vera DeMilo, the malformed bodybuilder, or Ice-T spoofs, he'd yo-yo 20 pounds weekly, treating flesh as farce. Self-slaps, contortions verging on agony, collisions with props for punchlines. Emmy murmurs grew, but so did his fractures. A 1992 dance mishap sprained his ankle mid-sketch. He powered through the week's shoots in torment. Earning $25,000 per installment, he'd just acquired his debut LA abode. Adderall bridged the 80-hour marathons, yet hollowed him from within. Marital fault lines widened concurrently. He'd wed Melissa Wummer in 1987 amid the Duck Factory's glow. She'd known the pre-fame grit. In Living Color's ascent flooded their lives with frenzy. Dawn returns, illicit escapades, deceptions. By 1995, divorce papers flew. She alleged infidelity with dancers, a metamorphosis into an unrecognizable stranger. Court filings laid bare the wreckage. Prosperity's poison, equilibrium's eclipse. Viewers roared, his union crumbled. The series itself courted controversy. 1992-1993 episodes towed and crossed taboo frontiers, alarming Fox brass. A Homeboys gang satire drew 10 million eyeballs, yet sparked outrage. Suits clashed with scribes over arable content. Jim dove deeper into the fray, skewering ethnicity, faith, all. Exhausted by 1994, he exited, not scorched, but launched stratospherically. That pivot year birthed Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, a shoestring Seamus saga no one foresaw reshaping humor. $15 million budget ballooned to $72 million domestic, $87 million global. Jim freestyled 40% of dialogue, incarnating Ace utterly. "Alrighty then," erupted into lexicon overnight. Execs shifted from Snickers to seven-figure offers. His screen test defied script, serenades a la Ray Charles, Tony Bennett, absurdities that slayed in flesh, if not font. He edged 19 rivals. Sean Young snagged then squandered the female lead via clashes, yielding to Courtney Cox. The production morphed around his whimsy. Pranks punctuated takes, yanking a cellist's limb mid-melody for chaos retained in final cut. Crews stifled hysterics through 20 retakes. Jim's anarchy reigned. He forewent showers, bunked in Ace's pad, bleached locks blonde. Actor and avatar amalgamated. The raid sequence's improv frenzy reset rigs repeatedly. Uncontainable, yet bankable. Remuneration rocketed, $350,000 for Ace, $7 million for Dumb and Dumber, $20 million for The Cable Guy. Prosperity's paradox, ascent mirrored descent. Dumb and Dumber's press junket triggered collapse, visions, coke admissions, self-labeling as manic-depressive buffoon. A psychic veneer concealed inner implosion, not verdant latex, but feigned felicity amid fracture. Merch mania amplified. Ace figurines topped 1 million units, emblazoning lunch kits, apparel, playthings. Ubiquitous, inescapable. Yet Jim sued Warner Brothers for $20 million in 1995, decrying unauthorized video game likenesses. A landmark for star sovereignty, but for him, visceral violation. His grin commodified sans consent. Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, commanded $15 million upfront plus back-end slices, one comedy's fattest checks. $212 million haul ensued. Script repulsed him. Beastly barbs, crass tropes. On site, he battled scribes, subbing gentler ad-libs, though flaws endured. Conservationists decried cultural insensitivities. Jim sustained the mirth, but warred with the work's warp. Concurrently, The Mask detonated. $18 million Genesis, $352 million worldwide, 1994's box office bronze. The Verdant Veneer, ILM's digital wizardry across 200-plus shots. Prosthetics seared skin through 12-hour hauls, but accolades followed, an effects Oscar nod, edged by Forrest Gump. Jim resurrected big band jazz, catapulted Cameron Diaz to constellation, affirmed his solo show sorcery. Dumb and Dumber trailed triumphantly, $17 million seed, $270 million harvest, eternal cult fodder. Jim penned 30% of Lloyd's banter, the "We got no food, we got no jobs." Did he? Spontaneous gold. Set descended into delightful disarray, a nuptial halted by raucous reels. Jim's DIY snowboard wipeout snapped his. Ankle, he persevered, hobbling and hemorrhaging yet hilariously on point. Jeff Daniels adhered to a frigid lift pole. Tepid H2O thawed him. Fox's $10 million residuals rap in 1994 settled Sub Rosa. That Annam's earnings? Circa $20 million. But MTV Awards euphoria masked meltdown. Onstage crumple, backstage plea for respite. Paranoia prowled, pretense perished. Jim had tickled the globe, but his gasps grew labored. The Truman Show's seafaring climax tested metal manifest. Director Peter Weir demanded authenticity till Jim teetered on threshold. That tempestuous egress? 150 iterations. A gridiron-sized basin simulated squalls, waves pummeling Jim harnessed like a crash test dummy. Verisimilitude peaked perilously. He neared submersion. Divers intervened. Contrast, Truman's wall-touch epiphany? Singular take. Cinematic immortality minted. $60 million craft, $264 million yield. Jim's gravitas silenced snickers, spectators absorbed. He inhabited Sea Haven's sphere, set-bound weeks, kin contact curtailed, dialogue sparse beyond script. Solitude amplified pathos, bred directorial dust-ups, scene sovereignty claims, Globe victory $20 million kicker. He claimed Best Actor, yet Fishers predated the podium. Truman recast perceptions, elastic mug to profound thespian purveyor of profundity. Man on the Moon beckoned, Andy Kaufman quest. Jim shed 40 pounds, internalized tapes till mannerisms ossified. Method bled boundaries, Kaufman and confabs, drills, daily drift. Danny DeVito begged breathers. Climax, saline self-jab for malignancy mimicry. Visceral verity. $50 million gross, second Globe. But nuptials with Lauren Holly dissolved post 15 months, emotional tether frayed. A doc dissected the immersion's inferno, not portrayal, but peril. Batman Forever's 1995 Riddler reveled in riot. Bespoke 20 cane arsenal. 336 million smash. Internally, implosion. Valium quelled qualms. Leaks limned struggles. Tommy Lee Jones sparred ceaselessly with the caper. Addiction specter surfaced. Screen sport masked subsurface storm. Liar Liars $300 million surge rode 60% improv. Tribunal tumult electric. 3 years hence, universal bonus beef. $2 million shortfall suit. Royalties robbed claims. Hushed accord, but blemish bonded. The cable guy's $12 million draw veiled venom. Jim's chip eclipsed Matthew Broderick off tape, eliciting reaction roulette yelps. A sludge-smeared finale abraded Broderick's cornea. 14-hour trailer vigils. Dark farce veered experiment in extremity. How the Grinch Stole Christmas. $345 million windfall, but 2-hour daily entombment in asphyxiant slime. Motion misery, sweat sieges, fix frenzies. Retake rampages for flawlessness. Oscar for maculage. Jim bore vertebral woes. Vitality vacuumed. 2015's Katharina White Cataclysm. Irish cosmetologist, intermittent inamorata. OD'd. Suicide script indicted him. Psychological pummeling, prescription provision. Heirs hammered, STDs supplied, fragility forsaken. Pill voids, prophetic pings probed. Camp, cried coercion. 2018 dismissal. Scourge scarred indelibly. Eternal sunshine of the spotless mind defied dossier. Humorless, harness-free. Michelle Gondry's cueless cue birthed bewilderment. $72 million melee, 17-hour hazes, unprotected. Head shave for sequence. Post-poor depression dawned. Rawness resonated. Recovery? Rivulets of months. Homefront hitches, 2012. Autism for Jane. 2018, estrangement over poison perspectives. Percy Echoes, 2006 passing, 10 million send-off, camper penury to regal repose. Retirement Whispers 2018 yielded to 2020's Sonic the Hedgehog, $319 million. Monetary magnetism, jest, 30 million Sonic 3 haul. Gold-inked script seduction, voracious voodoo revival. 2014's Dumb and Dumber 2, 166 million amid pans, 30-pound Lloyd Redux. 2012 Bail, Daniel's Dragback. Script Sprint, 3-week scramble. Post-scandal, Embezzled Exotica, $60 million salve. Jim's lazy label lingered. 2022's Despond Echo, Prozac perennial since 80s. 2017, Sonic 2 sepsis near fatal, med moratorium. Pain preferable to numbness. Therapy Testament, Sonic 3 stall, humanity highlighted. 2007's The Number 23, 37 million dud, but numerological nightmare. Omens obsessed, signage, digits, dials. Therapy tamed the tangle, dark roles disavowed. Kick-Ass 2's Colonel Stars, post-Sandy Hook, promo purge. Violence Veto, 60 million but mute magnified. 2024's Sonic 3, mustachioed marathon, thrice-hour glue, $30 million mirth. Mance Mania quip, guilt glyphs genuine, gesture galvanized, not greed, but glamour. 2017's Fashion Fate Philosophic, No Me Exists. Eckhart Tolle tutelage, meditative merger, ego eclipse, universal union. Serenity, Submission's Gift. 2015's Homeboy Homily, Absolution Unlocks Eternity. Christ's Cruciform Clemency Canvas Fuel, Hundreds of Hues, Christmind Muse. No More Thespian, Seeker Supreme. By 2025, Carrey Canon crested $1 billion, Twin Globes, Oscar Emission. Affluence and Acclaim? Enlightenment's Empty Echo. Zenith? 1994. Troika? Ace, Mask, Dumber. Yet essence eluded eminence. He championed quiescence.